Hi guys, welcome back to Benmore CrossFit at home. We have got a great workout today, so let's zoom in and have a look at it, and I'll talk you through what we're looking for and the purpose of the workout. So it is 4 rounds for time, so we're going to do this as fast as possible. 10 overhead squat, RX weight for the guys is 70 kgs, RX weight for the girls is 55. Then we're going to do 10 burpees over bar, and then we're going to do three ring muscle up. Now, a few things might stand out straight away. First of all, 70 kgs, you're having a laugh, John? And ring muscle ups, seriously? I'm doing this at home. Okay, so the purpose of this, and the purpose of all of our programming, is that we program for the fittest people that could ever possibly walk through our doors. And we program for people who have aspirations to go to the games, and then we scale back for everybody else, okay? So there's absolutely no expectation that you'll be overhead squatting 70 kgs for 10 reps unbroken 4 times round, okay? Only if the people that we used to train with in Bahrain came into this gym would we expect them to do that. But that's the level that we're shooting for, because if we program for the lowest common denominator, then guess what? We've just brought the average expectation down, and there isn't a stretch for people in terms of testing their fitness. So, a little insight into why we program at the RX weights that we do. And then also ring muscle ups. If we don't program ring muscle ups, then the people who are following along at home who do have some ring stations, guess what? They might do a ring muscle up until this whole coronavirus thing's over, and we've excluded the opportunity for them to continue to develop their fitness. So we have lots of different options for people to work along at home. So let's just have a look at that specifically for the rings. I've drawn out a little flow chart. Sarah, you might need to zoom in here. So first question, so for the ring muscle ups, do you have rings? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Okay. Yes. Can you actually do a muscle up? Yes. Great. Do ring muscle ups. I have rings, but I can't do a ring muscle up. So can you do a muscle up? No. Okay, well then you will do a pull up, a baby up, and a dip, and I'll just talk through those specifically. So you will do those instead of the 3 ring muscle ups. Do you have rings? No, I don't. Okay, well then you will do, for every rep, you will do 2 pull-ups and 2 push-ups. And you will multiply that by 3, okay? So just to clarify, that equals 3 ring muscle-ups. This equals 1 rep. So in the workout, you would do that 3 times round, okay? Mm-hmm. So we want to maintain, we want to make sure that during this period, we are either at least maintaining people's fitness, or we're helping them stretch to new levels of fitness that they hadn't got before. So we always want to put the benchmark somewhere that stretches everybody, and if that's too much for people, but then we just scale backwards. And we scale backwards, probably today predominantly in terms of the weight, and also the ring muscle up options. Okay, so 4 minutes just to get started of whatever your usual cardio is. Double unders, skipping, running, rowing, jumping jacks, whatever it is you've got, go get it. Okay, and then we're going to go straight into 3 rounds of 10 air squats and 5 burpees. So air squats, feet approximately hip width apart, somewhere between hip width, certainly no more than shoulder width apart. Big fat tummy, so not sucked in tummy, big fat tummy, chest up, sit down in the seat. Stand up, and stand up. Okay, air squat. Burpee, fall flat on the floor and get back up again. The clamp above your head is important. Now, if falling straight onto the ground is too much, you've got options. So well, you either go down, step up, or you can step down, step up, always clap over your head. Okay, so 10 air squats, 5 burpees, 3 rounds. Then we're going to go into our pretty regular pipe-based shoulder routine. If you don't have one of these, which is a telescopic extension pole from B&Q, I believe they're on offer at the moment, then go and get a Go get a brush, go get a PVC pipe, whatever you've got. Okay, so we start off, my right hand is on top, so I push the pipe forward. I try and create as straight a line from my wrists to my bum as possible. Sarah, how am I doing?
You're doing well, yeah. Now your back's looking good.
Okay. And then I take the pipe and I push it over to my left. And I'll get a really good stretch down this side of my body. Now, I'm going to be highly critical of myself. Sarah's not so critical. She's not as harsh as me. So in this position, although my back will be straight, from my shoulders to my wrists, you'll notice like a little kink. So if you were to draw a straight line from here to here, now yes, it's straight to here, and then straight to here, but it should be directly straight from here to here. I'll show you what I mean. See, I got a slight kink.
Your hands are higher than your hip, so that will make it seem worse.
Doesn't have to be completely horizontal line, but a completely straight line. And I don't have a straight line. I have a straight line probably from my hips to my shoulders, and from my shoulders to my wrists. You want to try and get that as straight as possible. Okay. Then we're going to do, so hold that on either side for 30 seconds. Then we're going to do our usual pass through. So we're going to take our pipe and pass it round over our heads. We're going to keep our hands completely closed grip. And we're going to keep our elbows locked. We'll do 10 of those. Then we're going to do 5 round the world. So round the world is you take one side of the pipe, keep it plunked. Take the other hand, pass it out in front of you, keeping your elbows straight. And round the back of your head. And round. And then the other way. Okay, so you will do 5 of those going clockwise, 5 of them going anti-clockwise. So, that stretch, pass throughs, round the world, do all of that twice. Okay, now we're going to get into our duck walk and broad jumps. Duck walk's a cool little move and it just helps open up our hips and get everything into a good position actually for our overhead squats. So we put the bar over our head, we go down into crouch position like this. Don't worry that your ankles, notice how my heels have come off the ground, that's perfectly fine. And we lead with our heels. And I'm actively turning, I'm actively flicking around. So I'm not walking straight. I'm actively going side to side. And I'm leading with my head. Okay. So I do as many duck walks as you have space for. Thank you, Sarah. I did approximately 6 or thereabouts. But do as many as you've got space for. And whenever that space takes up, then broad jump back. And a broad jump is from a static standing position. You just jump as far forward as you can, landing into the bottom of your squat. Looks like this. And again. When you land in your squat, stay there for just a second to stabilize before you move on. Okay. Do that twice. Thank you, my fair assistant. Very nice. Right. Okay, what else have we got? So, hip and ankle openers. So take a weight, whatever weight you've got, and we're going to spend a little bit of time in this position. Okay. And spend approximately 30 seconds in your squat. Just chill it out here. And then 30 seconds moving backwards and forwards over your ankles. Then you might want to spend another 30 seconds going into a really wide version. Ooh. And again, just noodling around at the bottom of your position. You're just opening up your hips. And then from here, we're going to do a usual ankle opener. Knee in line with our toes, approximately a fist's gap between the two. Take whatever weight you've got, and this weight could be a kilo bag of sugar, it could be a pint of milk, not a pint of milk. Well, I mean, you can do it. Look, you can do this with no weight. Right. The important thing is my heel in this instance does not come off the ground. Okay, and I'm taking my knee and I'm pushing it over the front of my toes. And you should get a good stretch down here. And then I would repeat that on the other side. This time I'll do it with my weight. I'll put my weight on my knee. Okay, again I just feel that really good stretch down the back of my Achilles heel. Okay, so I would spend, in total, I'd probably spend about 4 minutes moving between each of these every 30 seconds or so. And just work your way around. And wherever feels a little bit tighter, just spend a little bit more time on that one. Okay. Last thing. Before I pass over to Sarah, because she's going to demo the overhead squat, because Sarah's overhead squat is a thing of beauty, whereas mine just should not be allowed out.
Mine's just not very heavy.
Huh?
Mine's just not very heavy.
Well, it looks wonderful. And that's the thing actually, because we're looking for beautiful reps with great movement patterns way before we're thinking about going heavy, okay? Anyway, so the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to go through a quick wrist prep. I'm going to demo each of these for like 10 seconds, but I'd like you to focus on each of these movements for probably about 30 seconds each. Okay, so we start off, first of all, really easy. Hands like this, good. Now, Sarah, can you zoom in on can you get close to my hands?
I shall try.
Okay, so this feels really good, okay? I want you to pay attention to in my instance, it's my middle finger, okay? See the way that's off the floor? I have to really think about keeping that flat on the floor as I move over from left to right. And it's the same on both hands. And it's not because I spent my childhood giving people the finger. I don't know what it is. It's just, I'm just tight. Sarah, you said you were getting the same sort of thing, but you get through your little finger. Absolutely. So it's one thing to go, oh yeah, look, here I am doing my wrist movements, but actually I've released all of this tension by having my fingers be bent. So, okay, so that's the first one. We're just going left to right. And then the next one, Sarah, you have to be so close this time.
Just focusing on your knees there.
Yeah, nice. Nobody needs that. Nobody wants to see that first thing in the morning. And the next one, so we were here. The next one, we're going to put our hands in front of us, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're just going to go backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. And again, if I notice subtle changes in how planted my fingers feel, or not, as the case may be, as I introduce more tension into the system, my body is evidently looking to create more slack in the system and looks to bend my fingers. No. So again, about 30 seconds here. Next one, this is my favourite one. Turn your wrists around. Notice where my elbows are pointing. So my elbows, next side. Okay. And I really have to think about focusing on keeping my fingers completely flat on the floor in this one. And I'm getting the tension by coming back towards me this time. Okay, and then last one, go over onto our wrists.
That's my favourite one.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, and just come backwards to you. Backwards. Okay, so I would spend, I went through this quite quickly, I would spend at least 30 seconds to a minute on each one of them. Lastly, we're going to warm up our elbows. So this is a really easy one. Let me just do this. I was thinking some kind of kink mix. I don't know why. And then back the other way.
I find that really hard for some reason.
What, making cakes?
Oh yeah.
Alrighty. So, hopefully all warmed up, ready to rock and roll. Let's go through some skills drills for overhead squat, and then we'll get into the ring muscle up, and then you can get ready to rock and roll. Okay, so I'm going to pass over. Ooh. Sarah is going to be my demo girl. Alrighty. So, first of all, in fact, Sarah, I'm going to ask you to demo with an odd object. So Sarah is going to use a kettlebell. So if you're using a kettlebell at home, or dumbbell, or a stuffed rucksack, or whatever it is that you've got, et voila, then you will probably be doing a single arm overhead squat. I'm actually going to ask Sarah to do a demo, a double, but that'll come in a minute. So Sarah starts by cleaning the weight up. Okay, so let's just think about the setup. Pop the bar down. Okay, so she stands over the weight, feet between, weight in between her feet. She goes to bend over. She puts her bum through the back doors. Looks like an angry gorilla back. That's it. She deadlifts the weight up to her hips. From here, she then pops it under her shoulder by keeping her elbow high and outside and popping with her hips. Go on, clean it up. She cleans it up. She then presses it over her head. Well done. And then she just gets her feet set and ready for her squat position and squats. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Well done. Okay, and set, reset. And just put the weight down again for me. And like you did the first time, just full speed. So Sarah is actually going to do exactly the same things now. So she's going to deadlift, she's going to clean, she's then going to jerk, but she's just going to do it at pace. Just do it all as one fluid motion. And it looks like this. There we go. Alrighty, and she's going to squat. Nice. Now, I'm going to ask her to squat again. And just things to watch out for. Notice the nice position of Sarah's lower back. Okay, upright her chest is. It's really good. And feet completely planted. Equal weight distribution across the front and back of her feet. Round of applause for my demo girl. Good work. Alrighty. Now I'm going to get her to do a little bit of extra work. I'm going to ask her to go and get an extra.
This could go wrong.
Okay. So we're just doing some drills for the overhead squat. So the purpose for today's workout, guys, is to go relatively heavy. So if you have 2 kettlebells or 2 dumbbells, today's the day to use them. Okay. Go for it, Sarah. She cleans them up, jerks them over her head, and squats like a boss. And do that again. Yep. Nice. And again.
Oh, I thought you were doing.
No, it's okay. That's all right.
Do you want me to do it again?
No, I don't. Okay, so if you have a fixed limited weight, then how many overhead squats can you do? Because perhaps doing 10 overhead squat at, so perhaps here, doing 10 overhead squat, but you've only got 5 kg kettlebells or dumbbells, and you could just do that for days. Well, I want you to do as many as you can in 45 seconds. Okay, so in the same way as we did yesterday, we set you an average that you needed to do. That would be how you would overcome the haven't got enough weight problem. Okay, Sarah is going to do almost exactly the same thing. So she's going to Sarah, imagine the weight the bar has some plates on it. Okay, so it's at mid shin. So imagine there's weight on the bar. She'll start there. She'll deadlift it up. Yeah. She'll then. Now Sarah, based on her grip width, I'm assuming she's going to power snatch it over her head. Okay, she's going to power snatch it over her head. Alrighty. She's going to set herself up for her feet, for her squat width, and she's going to squat down again. Okay, really important things to note. Look where Sarah's armpits are pointing. They are pointing forwards. You're going to get a good look into Sarah's armpits right now.
Don't look too closely.
Don't look too closely. Okay, they're pointing forwards. Nice, and stand. Okay. We're just going to come around the back here. Watch Sarah's shoulders. Her shoulder blades are pointing. So her armpits are pointing forwards, which is really good. And squat. And push through your right hand side a bit more, Sarah. And stand. And relax. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to get Sarah to demo that again, but rather than snatch it, I want you to clean it, press it over your head, and go from there. Okay, so an alternate way to get the bar over your head, particularly
front rack, or should I put it on my back?
Yeah. So if you are able to overhead squat a large amount of weight, maybe more than you can snatch, then this is an alternate way to get the bar into the right position. So Sarah's going to clean the bar. So first of all, in her clean, notice, just reset there again, Sarah. So first of all, notice her feet position. Notice her hand position is much narrower than it was before. She then stands it up for a deadlift. From here, she then pops her hips and cleans it up onto her shoulders. Nice. Now, I imagine Sarah's going to pop it over the back of her neck. Yep. Pops it over the back of her neck. Widens up her grip. From here, pops it up over her head. And then she's in her position to do her overhead squat. Look at that. Squats like a boss. Alrighty. Good work. If I didn't have one hand on the camera, I'd give you a round of applause. There we go. Alrighty. Great work. So, thank you. So in terms of your overhead squat, if you're working with a bar, start off with an empty bar, do 2 sets of at least 10, add your weight and keep adding weight until you get to a heavy 10. Whatever you feel, I'm really struggling to do 10, that's your weight, okay? If you are working with a fixed weight, let me just make that really clear here. So it's your average max for 45 seconds. Okay, so I want you to continuously, for 45 seconds, do overhead squats. And do that like 4 times. And whatever that number is, let's imagine you do 30, 25, 20, and 20. Well, then your average would be, I think it might be 22 and a half. But whatever that
Something
would
like
be.
that.
Something like that, right? So that would be the number that you would consistently have to do each of the 4 rounds. Alrighty. Ring muscle ups. So, if you're in the camp, do you have rings? No. Okay. Well then, your warm-up is going to be a series of light rows, building up your rows, and 5 sets of 5 reps of push-ups, 2 times over. Okay. The rest of this piece is just going to be all about ring muscle up practice. So feel free to just go get it, and we'll see you for the next one. If you've got rings, then this is, or if you're just interested to see how you could build up some skills with rings eventually, then follow along. Here we are. Okay, so I'm going to start off with, as always, some scapular pull-ups on the bar. Here's the bar. Oh man. So I'm just keeping my torso tight, my tummy tight, and I'm just allowing my shoulders to rise up and come down. Up and come down. pull them up, come down, pull them up, come down. Okay, so you would do 5 sets, you do 2 sets of 5 of those. Now, baby up. Baby up, I love baby ups because I remember the very first time I was introduced to these, I thought, this is magnificent. I've almost done a ring muscle up and it just feels so good. Okay, so let's talk through it. First of all, take your rings approximately waist height. Now, if you really want the detail of this, sign up to our Low Rings at Home program because we've got 6 weeks basically learning how to do this with excellence. But here's the condensed version. Okay, rings approximately waist height. Now, to make this harder, put the rings higher. To make it easier, put the rings lower. Simple as that. Let's start off with false grip. What on earth is false grip? False grip. Karate chop the rings. Thumbs round. Et voila. Okay. From here, put our feet just out in front of us. My shoulders are just beneath the ring mounting points. And basically what I'm doing is I'm lifting myself up and then coming through, and I'm going to do this with a speed, and I'm finishing in this position. Okay. A bit of speed, it looks like this. And this thing, the most important thing, when you're doing a baby up, I'm going to demo it because I don't have any hair. You will know you're doing it correctly when this happens. He says confidently.
We were waiting.
We're all waiting.
Yay!
Alright, you'll know you've done it correctly because your hoodie pops itself up. Alright, so that's the first bit. Baby up. Then you can move on to kipping baby up. And kipping baby up looks like this. These rings might be a bit low for me, but let's just see what happens. Okay, so I'm doing exactly the same thing, but I'm lifting my bum off the ground, I'm bringing my knees into my chest, and kicking my legs out. So I'm trying to do that slow motion. I can't do it slow motion completely because I'm going to be off the ground.
To levitate.
Yeah. So I bring myself up like this. I bring my knee in. I kick my leg out as quickly as I can. And then I transition. Okay. Now, if you can kip baby up, you can break muscle up. Okay. The next piece from this is a dip. A lot of people think the hardest part of doing a ring muscle up is the pull-up part. It's not. It's the transition over and catching yourself in this position and being strong enough to then push yourself out of it. So it's the transition and the dip is really the hard part. So dips. We practiced these the other day. Look like this. I'm going to show you all these little transition pieces, or all these little drills, and then you can, I'll talk you through what to practice before the workout. Oh, and then I'll do the whole thing, shall I? Sarah, my trusty assistant, is pointing. banded dips. Yes, banded dips are good progression. So if you have the option, if you have one of these bands at home, set your rings up. Now you might be thinking, I've only got one set of rings, and that's going to be really annoying because I've got my baby up rings, I don't have another set of rings to do my dips. Well, yeah, but look, you can just, put your baby up, let go, and then when it comes to the dip part, and voila. Okay. So, we step into them, 2 knees on, dip down, and push yourself. Okay. Pressure's on, huh?
Mm-hmm.
See my hoodie? Okay, so in the workout, if you have rings and you can ring muscle up, go get them. If you can ring muscle up, all of the tutorials that I just talked you through, you don't need those. You can do it. If, however, you've got rings and you just want to practice on the skills, 3 pull-ups, followed by 3 baby-ups, or ideally 3 kipping baby-ups, followed by 3 dips, or assisted dips. Now, also, if you do have rings, so I'm conscious of moving about a bit, but if you do have rings, but you can't do a dip, that's fine. Onto your toes, assisted dip, that's fine. If you can't do a full pull-up, well, rows. Ultimately, what I'm trying to get you to encourage to think about are there are three parts to a ring muscle up. Pulling yourself up, transitioning, and then pushing yourself up. Okay? It is as simple as that. So find the option that works for you in terms of a replication of the pull, the replication of the transition, and the replication of the pushing out into your top position. Okay? So let me just bring it back to the board and we'll talk through all of that again. Okay. 4 rounds for time, 10 overhead squats, 10 burpees. Oh, burpees over bar. Haven't demoed those. Yeah, better do those. So here we are. Here's the bar. Burpees over bar look like this. Now, of course, if they've got a bit of weight on them, they'll be up higher. But John, I don't have a barbell. Okay. Here's your blood object. Do exactly the same thing. So, 4 rounds for time, 10 overhead squat, 10 burpees over your bar or object, and your version of a ring muscle up. So, just to clarify, do you have rings? Yes. Can you do a muscle up? Yes. Do a muscle up. Do you have your rings? Yes. Can you do a muscle up? No. Okay, well then do 3 pull-ups, 3 baby-ups, 3 dips. That's your equivalent. Do you have rings? No, I don't. Fine. Do 2 pull-ups or 2 heavy rows.
Was that a clock?
That was our clock. Do you know what that was? Do 2 heavy rows. Do 2 push-ups, and that would be 1 rep. So you'd repeat that whole thing 3 times. hopefully that's it. Hopefully there's literally something in here for everybody at every variation of level of fitness. Sarah, before we sign off, is there anything that you would recommend for the guys?
No, so in my one I did the
Yeah.
I did the overhead squat at 25 and the burpees, and then I did these here. I did mine individually and kept going round and round and round.
Yeah.
But no, I found it was really good because it meant each time I came to the next thing, I was really focused on that bit of technique rather than the whole thing all at once.
Yeah, and I think part of this workout is you're supposed to go heavy in the squat, and you're supposed to go hard in the burpees. But it's also an opportunity to practice the skills associated with a ring muscle up. And a lot of people would say, or might have the thought process, oh, I shouldn't try a muscle up until I know I can do X number of strict pull-ups and X number of dips. I mean, and yes, absolutely. However, the skill component associated with the transition, which is basically the baby up, you can train that straight away. You can train that today. And the reason I would encourage people to train that muscle memory is then the moment you do have the strength, boom, you'll be there. It'll happen. So you can train these things simultaneously. So it's not as if it has to be a linear progression. You can train multiple things multiple times. So if you do have some rings at home, really try and practice some of the movements in here today. I think that's it. I really enjoyed that one. The overhead squat nearly killed me because I'm terrible at it. And I'd love to hear how you get on, and we'll see you for the next one. All right, bye.